Hey everyone. So about a week or two ago I set out a question asking if you guys would enjoy watching a series of videos in which I merchant just on a fresh account to see how much money I can make starting at something very small, tracking my progress, showing you guys what I merch at different amounts of cash, and using my adventure log to work out my effective cash gain per hour, my profit per hour. And the majority of you said that you'd enjoy to watch that. So this is in fact the first episode of it, and I'm pretty sure you probably guessed that by what is a really boring background still and the title of this video, but in case you didn't, this is what it is. So what I'm going to be doing is just starting on a really small amount of money and building my way up as high as I can go. Now this will allow me to merchant with a whole variety of different cash stacks, and this means, so I'll be merchanting with amounts like 1 mil, 100 mil, and you know, if I get there, even amounts like 500 mil. And hopefully you'll enjoy this series as a whole, but if you don't, there may be certain sections which are more relevant to you if you're trying to merchant yourself. So if you've got 50 mil, obviously the episodes where I'm merchanting with around 30 to 100 mil would be more relevant and maybe more useful. Now, as of right now, I haven't set myself any certain goals, so if you guys have any goals, then, you know, that'll be appreciated, and I'll make sure I read all the comments on this video. And as well as any goals, any other suggestions, things that I can do on this account. I don't really plan on scaling that much, although I could do some skills if you have good suggestions. And any other ways in which I could just improve these videos, or any feedback, that is always great. And similar, if you guys have any clever names for this series, then that'd be quite awesome too. So apart from that, that is just the intro that I wanted to do, and now we can start the actual video. So now the clip started, you can see the item that I am starting this merchanting series with, and it is just a needle, which someone did suggest in the comments to my video about this, and I did think it was quite a good idea. Although they did say try and trade a needle up for a more valuable item until you get a party hat, and I wasn't really too keen on going all the way to getting a party hat, especially doing it the way they said. But I did think the idea of starting out with a needle was quite good, because it's just one of those junk items that no one really keeps. I think you can keep them on your tool belt now, so they're pretty much pointless. So what I just decided to do would be to try and buy it at 3 GP each and sell them at 4 GP each. So that is why I've got my needle in at 4 GP now, and hopefully I could do that a few times in a day to just make myself 1 GP profit per, which sounds really awful, and it really was quite bad when I was starting off with such a small amount. And in reality, anyone who was with this amount of cash, like if you had a 5 GP bank, apart from just quit and start again, you could just, you know, pick up something like ashes, just go cut a tree, and, you know, you would earn a lot faster to begin with than, you know, trying to merchant needles and vials, which I then go on to. But I did just want to make sure everything I earned on this account was purely merchanting. So, you know, I'm not going to be doing anything like Squeal of Fortune for money. I'll make sure I drop any rewards that have an actual value to them. And you can see the needle did sell and it did rebuy, and it was making money. It was pretty awful. Although once I got myself up to 5 GP, I did decide to move on to vials. Now I managed to buy some overnight at 1 GP each and sell them off at 2 GP each, and it did double my money, although it was painfully slow, and I'm not sure whether it would have been faster just to carry on doing needles, because it did take literally 10 hours to do just one vial to double the amount of money I invest. But I did do some vials until I found this really fortunate post on the forums, and basically someone had posted saying that adamant darts were in the Grand Exchange for 1 GP each instead of their med price at 55 GP each. So I managed to multiply my investment by 55 profit, which is pretty awesome, and it was very lucky, I'll admit that. But at the end of the day, like I said before, anyone with common sense, unlike me, instead of trying to merchant with 3 GP, they would have just picked up smashes or gone and cut some logs. So it didn't really make that much of a difference, but it was very fortunate to find at the time I found it. Now you can see there I can afford a lot more vials and needles and stuff at the same time, and it was pretty much just doubling my money with those vials, which got me to get about 50k, in which I could begin to merchant runes. And you'll see just after this clip right now, and my dog's just barking in the background, hopefully you can't hear that too badly, but I moved on to doing mind runes, and mind runes were quite good, as I was able to buy them for 4 GP each and sell them for 6, and they'd buy and sell really quite fast, and they've got a nice limit of 25,000 too. And you can see now, thanks to some mind rune flipping, I did manage to get my bank value to be over 100k for the first time. So by this point I had turned 3 GP into 100k, which I think is pretty cool, because it only took about 2 or 3 days at this point. But I did carry on flipping the mind runes, and I added some air runes in there, not that many. But now you can see I'm doing mind runes, body runes and water runes, and runes did really help quite a lot. And you can see that I was increasing quite fast at the time. Now this is the final clip, and I'm just going to collect the money that I got from all these runes, and you'll be able to see, thanks to mind runes and water runes especially, I managed to get myself over the 500k mark, so I now have 512k. And I started about a week ago, like I said, with 3 GP, so I think that is quite a lot of profit. And you can see now, if I just go onto my adventure log, I've only had 3 hours of actual online time, so that equates to just over 170k profit per hour, which, as far as I'm aware, is about double the profit you'd get from picking flax at a level 3 account. So I've pretty much beasted flax picking, and you can see there I've got myself up to 512k. So hopefully you've enjoyed this first episode, and I appreciate it has been pretty boring because I've only been flipping things like needles, vials and runes, but that is all you can really do with this amount of cash. So hopefully in the next episode you'll be able to see more flipping which will be relevant to you. But that is all for the first episode. I hope you've appreciated the fact I've gone starting from 3 GP and made it up to what would be a decent-ish amount to start merchanting with. But apart from that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in episode 2. Also, one last thing that I just wanted to add on at the end. I realised I didn't really show things like checking the margins on things like runes, and further down the line I will be doing things like Bandos, where I do merch that. And, you know, I've got more information about it on screen, but if you'd like a second kind of part per episode where I actually show how to merch these items, then if you could let me know in the comments, that'd be great. And like I did say, there's more information about this on screen if you want to have a quick pause and a quick read, and just let me know, guys. So cheers.